Hello, what's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Um, I know I don't record a lot of videos, but we are close to season 3. So I thought to myself it might be a good idea to do a combat deep dive before we start the new season to see which commanders have been really thriving at level 15 season 2. And it will fit in nicely with my other video that is going to come soon, where I explain the best starting commanders for a few factions and just in general as well. Alright, so on this server, unfortunately, there was not a lot of competition. We have stopped conquering territories 2 weeks ago. It is endless to extend further. Rohan are allied with us right now, and the other factions have just disappeared from the map. A lot of people have stopped playing, so we're just kind of waiting for Season 3. Okay, let's start here. This is a good point. So, Iluvatar is one of the other decent people on our server. He has a really good Theoden. We can check his gear here. Absolutely great. The reach of the Riddermark. Then he has the evasion scout, evasion mail, the horseman's helmet with some allied unit damage reduction, and finally he runs the fiddle of the eldest, which is also a fantastic speed boost. So a really good Theoden. Has been causing a lot of troubles for some of my guildmates. And I've just been testing a lot of different builds against him. His skill distribution, we change it sometimes, but this is pretty good. I think he has him at R8 or R10 or something like that. So very good Theoden. Now here's my Sauron. Like I said, my Sauron is pretty new, so the gear is not the best. I just put some focus gear on him, some extra madness. This might not be the best. I'm also gonna explain it later when we look at the combat, but not for now. And the pipe, of course. The pipe is very good. You get lots of focus and healing, so that's very nice. And I've been at R3. Now, I was playing around with a few different builds. So this battle, you can see it didn't go well for me at all. I tried a full focus damage build. The problem with this build is Sauron does not do enough focus damage to justify solely going for this. So, of course, he did, how much did he do? He did 112 focus damage, 112k focus damage. That's not bad at all. But at the end of the day, I lose my entire army, and I did scratch him a little bit, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Of course, he also has tier 4 units, so the matchup is unfavorable anyway. But overall, this build is not good. So this is the full focus build where you get the respect 3 title and the respect 1 lower title, and it's a lot of damage, but it's not enough. And then I tried out a different build which worked much better, and that's the Madness build on Sauron. So this build is really good. It has completely generic matchups. It doesn't really matter who you run into. Most of the time, if they don't have an anti-madness helmet, they just lose. Okay, so we can see here I'm not using any tier 4 units, while Iluvatar is using the marshals. He has much better gear than I have on my Sauron. I just have a little bit of purple gear. He has maxed out gold on every position almost. And we can see this, I absolutely melted him here. Like this, a battle like this is completely devastating. So we did almost 400k damage. We out-healed him as well, and we got close to 200k damage, which is absolutely fine. And the important thing to note here, Sauron still did a lot of damage, 116k, yeah? So you don't really need the other skills from the Lord of the Gifts to do that much damage. That's very important to note here. Now, I did put 1 point in Black Arts for the anti-heal. This is very important. You need this because it wrecks Galadriel. We will see this later. But it's also very good against generic healing commanders. So this ensures that Sauron out-heals those other healing commanders, and it's just a little bit of focus damage as well, while providing some nice percentage boosts If you have him at respect 5, you can maximize this skill as well. I have him at respect 3, so... And of course I did the Master at Arms, I maximized him on that, so this is what you can get at respect 3. Now, let's look at this report. So why was this so much better than this? Well, of course it's because of the madness, yeah? So let's take a look at the first round here. So initiative doesn't really matter when you play with madness. So you get madness on Theoden, very nice. And Theoden hits the marshals for 3k. Then he heals him a little bit, that's fine. We get the madness on the marshal. Now this is why this battle report is quite impressive, because the marshals resisted the madness. Okay? So it's not the worst case scenario. It would be the worst case scenario if the Ring of Terror did not inflict madness, but they resisted the madness in round 1. So they just and they attacked the alchemists as well. So this is actually very unlucky RNG. And we lose quite a lot of alchemists before they can do damage. Okay, now, so that was the marshals. Then we do get the bow knights, and they hit the marshals, which is very nice. Lose 133 units. And we also get the madness on the cataphract, very cool. And they also hit the marshals. Now again, this is okay RNG. I would prefer if both of these guys attacked me and only the marshals got the madness, but it's fine. So we got 2 madness procs, which is pretty good in the first round, and at least we got madness on everyone. So our enfeeble skill will do a lot more damage to those units. After the madness, my units attack, of course. We get some sustain, very cool. And this is what I was talking about before. The hysteria from the helmet does not stack with the madness from Sauron. The reason why I still use the madness helmet is that I need madness after the first 2 rounds. So Ring of Terror expires after round 3. That's very important to note. Well, after round 2, actually, sorry. So my hysteria helmet will activate again. Let's see, it's round 1, round 2. So it should activate again in round 3. If it's a 1 round cooldown. I'm not 100% sure, we will see. Then the bow knights get some avoidance, my halberdiers attack and my alchemist attack, and they still do decent burn damage, and they hit the marshals, which is very good. So round 1 overall was okay. We can see the madness is already causing some trouble for this army. And let's go on to round 2. We do not get the madness on the cataphract, which is bad. We did not get it on Theoden either, but we do get it on the marshal. And here you can see why this is so good. So they do 11k damage to the cataphracts. So this is absolutely amazing. And the other thing to notice is that the marshals will not be attacking my units this round. That's really important. So it's not even that important that they do damage. Of course it's cool, but the really important thing is that my units don't get damage from them this round. Marshals do a lot of damage. So we can see the cataphracts are slowly dwindling. And we do get the madness on the bow knights. And this is Sauron's Overload, which is a very cool and unique skill. We get some continuous focus damage every round. And we also get the attack from the bow knights also hits his army. So this round was very, very good for us. Normally it's fine if either the bow knights or the marshals hit themselves with madness or hit their fellow army units with attacks. In this round we got a little bit unlucky, lucky, which makes up for the unluckiness of round 1, and we get a nice bow knight attack on the marshals as well. So we can see by round 3 there are almost no marshals left. Like we have decimated them completely. Then here we go for the cataphracts, which is a little bit unlucky, but it's fine. The cataphracts are also dying. And then in round 3 my madness goes away, but by this point it doesn't matter anymore because his army is already really badly depleted, and we will just keep doing this continuous damage, keep getting the alchemist hits and the halberdier hits, and it's absolutely fine. So the one thing I want to take a look at is the hysteria, just to make sure when it activates. So here's the anti-heal, that's pretty cool. Something to note as well in round 3. While my sustain obviously heals them, and the soul siphon heals my units as well. So even though we did lose a few in the first round, we basically get them back now. So the soul siphon is a very cool skill, and the heal is decent. We get like 13k heal here, which is nice. Okay, now I'm just going to check for the hysteria. Here we go. So it does activate in round 3, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want. And it does not affect the bonnet, unfortunately, because I only have the helmet at 50% chance. But yeah, so with Sauron in the first 3 rounds, you really decimate the opponent's army, and that's what this guy's about. So this is why this battle went so much better. We really destroyed him. Once again, look at my gear and look at his gear. Difference is astronomical. Look at my units. I just use a very standard army composition, no Mumma kills. He uses tier 4s, Rohan tier 4s, which are one of the best units in the game, and it's an absolute massacre. Only like 207 bone knights survived. So this build is very good, and I definitely recommend it. Now, of course, I tried this against a few different armies. It works exactly the same way. So Eowyn is an easy matchup. You can look at the statistics if you want. You can see here she got 0 heal. I actually don't think he has the heal on her, if I missed. Yeah, so this build was pretty bad because he put the Giant Slayer, but it doesn't matter. Like Sauron will still out heal her due to the anti-heal that he has. And we can see that damage is astronomical, that damage difference, even though I'm only using tier 3 units. Now, what we did with Iluvatar in this battle was he switched the helm to an anti-madness helm because I encouraged him to do that. And of course, this time it goes better for him, but not really by that much. Like yes, statistically speaking, he's a little bit ahead in this battle probably, but once again, he's using tier 4 units, and I'm just using a very standard army composition, and really it's quite even. Even with the anti-madness helm. So, and he did get the anti-madness, just to check. So where is it? Here we go. Immune to madness on the marshals, which is essentially everything he needs. And Bone Knight was immune as well, and we only hit the cataphract. So this battle was definitely RNG. Lucky for him, because his helmet is only at 66%. But you can see that even if you build Sauron with the madness build, it's still better than the focus damage build, even if he has an anti-madness helm. So very good report here, and yeah, fantastic actually. And we just tried a few different things with his Theoden. So if you see me in the reports again, most battles are similar. So Sauron definitely works quite well versus Theoden, I would say. Now then, like I said, there are not many other good players on this server, so I decided to betray my my friend, or rather he betrayed me. So Aaron R99, and he has a full army of Mumma kills on a very strong Galadriel. So this Galadriel is stacked, except for the armor maybe. The armor is not that good, but all of these passives are amazing, you know, just ensuring as much heal as possible, ensuring a really high focus stat, 571, some madness in the Trapper's Hood as well, and the focus armor, which is not bad either, just a little bit low star. Very good skills as well, obviously. But Galadriel has a very big problem. And the problem with her is that this skill activates in round 3. And as we all know, in round 3, Sauron gets the anti-heal. So this is a very tough matchup for Galadriel, and he's running full Mumma kills on her. I mean, this battle report is quite amazing, and we can see that she only had an 8k heal, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you can skill Galadriel a little bit differently. to counter the anti-heal from Sauron, what he could have done is put a lot of points in this heal, which is in round 8. So it would take place, it would not be affected by Sauron's anti-heal. But the problem with that is then you lose to most other compositions, because if you get a heal this late, it's much worse than if you get it in round 3, of course. So, yeah. Sauron is just a good counter to Galadriel. We killed 16 Muma kills, put 10 in the hospital, and he got a few tier 3 units, which is not a big deal. A big deal for me. And if we actually count, I'm a little bit ahead in terms of the damage if we consider the heal. So this is a very good battle report for Sauron again. No, he still wiped almost all my army, of course, but it's Muma kills. So also, I was not running an anti-Muma kill build on purpose. Obviously, in this case, it's much better if I only run 2 units or even 1. But I like to run generic armies that I can reinforce quickly, which is why I decided to leave this composition exactly the same as versus Theoden, and we can see it works perfectly fine. So he's much longer in the hospital than me with this battle. All right, so that was Sauron here. I also tested the Sauron versus Witch King. So he's another buddy of mine, and he did not have an anti-madness helm on the Witch King, and of course that was his absolute downfall. If you look at the damage, so I got 138k damage, healed by 40, so 100k damage sustained. He had 292k damage sustained. And the interesting thing to note here is where you can really see the madness is that my commander and my soldiers did 210k damage, but he received 290k. So 80k of damage was done by his own army. So let's quickly look at round 1 just to see what this looks like. So the follow-up is really what wrecks the Witch King versus Sauron if you don't have the anti-madness helmet. And yeah, you can see the Berserker hits the Alchemists twice. I mean, this is ridiculous. He gets yeah, over 30k damage, and then the Alchemists hit the Berserkers, and it's just, this is an absolute bloodbath in round 1. Absolute destruction of his own army, and then of course my units can clean up very nicely. So if we quickly look at how many rounds this battle took, not even 10 rounds. So round 1 was really bad for him. If you get follow-up and the madness proc, you pretty much just lose. That's why this is just a battle to point out it's very important to run an anti-madness helm on Witch King. If you don't do that and you run into Sauron, this is what happens. Okay. Now we had another battle. So this was against my friend's Theoden. Very similar results to what I had with Illus Theoden. I'm ahead. He only used tier 3 units in this battle, so we can see the battle is a little bit more on my side. So very nice. Now this is also an interesting report. So there are not a lot of Lurtz counters in this game, funnily enough. I should know because I have a pretty good Lurtz, which I will also show in this combat deep dive. If you don't run Muma kills with Lurtz, this Madness Sauron is absolutely fine. Not a problem at all. He had a decent army, no tier 4 units, but nice defense reduction with the Ram Riders, then the continuous bleed, and the physical damage reduction from the Guardians, which is not the best versus Alchemists and Sauron, of course, but this army is not bad. And we can see that my Sauron destroyed him, and that's because Lurtz is also affected by madness. So we can see here, Lurtz kills his own army with all skills. This is Lurtz's Pierce, which is the special from the weapon. And what happens is the special from the weapon is dependent on the last skill that was activated, funnily enough, or on the last normal attack. So since his attack was beset with madness here, the pierce is also affected by madness. A little bit funny. So this sentence should not be here. This is a bug in the game because the pierce is reliant on this normal attack, and so he hits his own army again. So once again, after round 1, almost his entire army is gone, and my army just does the cleanup. I think this battle went 8 rounds as well, maybe. Let's see. No, 7 rounds, right? Yeah, so 7 rounds. Okay. Yeah, so if Lurtz hits his own army and it's not Muma kills, you just win. So very interesting as well. I have one more good report here. There we go. So we decided to make it a little bit more even here, and my friend used some tier 3 units, I used some tier 3 units, and you can see that Galadriel has no chance at all. This is not even really a favorable composition on my part. I'm not using any Bone Knights or Axe Throwers for the trolls. I'm not really using any burn protection from the alchemists. It's just my standard army once again, and of course he was also trying stuff out. So the alchemists are definitely good versus the mountain trolls. That's for sure. But I'm just saying this is pretty standard on my part. Nothing too special. And you can see she had a 1k heal, and I had like 100k damage, and he had like 278k. So massive difference. Once again, my gear is really bad. It's not really bad, but it could definitely be better. So this armor I need to get rid of, and this Easterling Spear, I'm waiting for a golden item that gives me nice focus. And the helm and the pipe obviously need refining. But you can see this build is working really well. His Galadriel is very strong once again. And we can see in round 1, I probably got the madness on the alchemists. Galadriel hits them as well, that's fine. So my alchemists get taunted by the mountain troll, which is also fine. And his alchemists hit as well. So we can see the mountain trolls took crazy losses in the first round. Let's see if I also got the madness on the second round, just out of curiosity. No. So didn't even get it both rounds on the alchemists, just got it in round 1, and you can see perfectly fine. Okay, so that was Sauron. Yeah, you can run him with any army composition. You can run him with mediocre gear. He is one of the best commanders in the game, very underappreciated by a lot of people. Here I have one more report versus his Lurtz with Mumax, and it's actually also not that bad, but of course it's Muma kills, so Muma kills are, one of the strongest units in the game. We got some madness on the Lurtz, which is fine. Yeah, not in round 2, only in round 1. And this fight is still not that bad. So I'm just looking for. We had some decent fights versus some Gondor guys the past few days. This is not very interesting to look at. Here we go. So I decided to try my Sauron with Muma kills as well, just for fun, see how it goes. It went really well. He had a anti-Muma kill army, I would say, with the Oathbreakers. Didn't really bother us that much. We just kept fighting. This got absolutely destroyed. And then I fought a Galadriel with Ents and Bone Knights without refilling. And this is the weird thing. So he had this kill maxed, which is wrong. So don't really do that. But maybe he was expecting to run into my Sauron. And still, it's not terrible. Like, this is Bone Knights and the Galadriel that is killed to go against Sauron, and it's not it's not terrible. Like, I probably still have a little bit of an upper hand in the damage department, and I lost a few Mumax, sure, but he lost a few Ents as well. So Very cool. Still didn't refill. We wiped an Imrahil. Then we fought a Dwalin, who had Oathbreakers as well. And then finally, the Legolas did manage to hurt us quite significantly. Now, I will say one other thing. So these army compositions that I see sometimes are extremely wrong. Yeah. I was testing stuff out, so I was more than happy to just take all the hits with my Sauron. But against something like this, I just have to guard switch correctly, and he loses everything. He loses 7,500 dwarves and barely scratches my army. For example, if he runs into Witch King, if he runs into my Kabul, if he runs into Black Serpent, whatever, like this army composition is extremely bad. Just because like your opponents have Mumma kills, you can't just switch your entire army. I see a lot of players make this mistake, and you shouldn't do that. Because first of all, the stuff that I explained, it's a real problem. If you run into anything other than Mumma kills, you lose so much. It's terrible for you. It sets your resource game back by 100%. And the other problem is, how are you going to reinforce this army after you have dealt with the Mumma kills? You have to wait like 40 minutes to get different troops in here. Absolutely terrible. Don't do this. Now, do I agree with something like this? Maybe, you know. Ents and Bone Knights, it's not a bad army. You can use this against a few other things as well. And I disagree with this Galadriel build, but the army composition is not bad. And so these guys, this as well, this is fine. If you have 2 units and you expect Mumma kills, this is perfectly fine. But something like this, that's not intelligent. I don't recommend doing this. It won't help you at all, because if you run into anything else, you lose the fight very, very badly. Now, I had another, so I refilled my Sauron after all those fights and had another go, and we can see he's just so solid. Like Sauron is one of my favorite commanders now, even though I just got him very recently. He does so much for really everything, and you can see that they can't get past him. Like they use so much stuff to get past one of my commanders. Tier 4 units, lots of Bone Knights, level 50 commanders. That's like lots of energy as well spent, and it's just impenetrable. And some of these guys didn't even have bad army compositions. Like this is King of the Dead. Of course, this skill should be maxed, but you know, tier 4 units. This is probably not a favorable matchup to Sauron, but we still managed to, you know, hold it down. He's only level 39, so if he was a higher level, this could have been a little bit more problematic. But you can see the idea here. Like Sauron is fantastic, and most of these commanders were very close to level 50, so not bad at all. So that's Sauron. If you have any questions about Sauron, I'm happy to explain. He's not really a difficult commander to play. You can use him in all factions. He's super good at level 50, and people don't respect him at all. They don't know how to play against him. They don't really understand how to counter this. And even with the anti-madness helm, it's not really a big problem. You can still win the fights, or at least draw them, as I showed before with Iluvatar's Theoden. So there's really not a really perfect matchup versus Sauron right now. If you run him with Mumma kills, I think this army is invincible, because you can't really do anything against this. If you run, let's say you run a full army of alchemists, they don't have enough damage mitigation. They will be dealt by round 2. Yeah. If you run one unit type, you will lose against all other armies. Well, except if it's Mumma kills, of course. If you run an anti-madness helm, you're potentially giving up on your own madness helm. If I run Sauron with alchemists, he will still win. The continuous focus damage over 10 rounds is too much for most units. And then my alchemists have free reign over their units. So it's really tough to counter this. If I was running into Sauron with full Mumma kills, I would probably try something like King of the Dead with the full anti-heal and Oathbreakers, because that's a real army to be concerned about. I could also try Black Serpent with full Oathbreakers, but apart from these compositions, I don't really see a feasible out. You could of course also run Lurtz with Mummax into him, though your Mumma kill losses will be heavier than what he will take. So fantastic commander, one of the best in the game. Now, speaking about fantastic commanders, I'm gonna go on to my favorite commander this season, and that is Kirun. So Kirun is absolutely fantastic. He was broken before they made the change, but now he's just different. You run him with different units. He still has the same strength as before, and he actually does a lot more damage. And once you start getting him to the higher respect levels, he will be an absolute headache to deal with. Now I've tried a lot of different builds with the new R5 title. So if you don't know, Kirun had Marshal of the Eastmark here, which gave a 50% chance to reduce generic damage by 30%. And then he had the Quicksand title, which increased the damage received to all enemy units by 20% at maximum level. I was a huge fan of this respect title. I think Marshal of the Eastmark is one of the best titles in the game, but I totally understand that they decided to adjust him to really fit the evil man armies. And so I tried all of the builds. This is the best build at respect level 5, with fully maxed skill points from the Armory Master, or Master at Arms, or whatever he's called. So I don't have War Chariots, of course. I do have Dragoons, but I'm not really fighting large units. But this is really good. So minus 30% damage received from the mounted units, and this is not to be underestimated either. Evil Man attack +1. This title is decent. If you are in any faction other than Mordor and you don't have Mumma kills at the start, it's even better. And if you are in Rune, you can obviously get the maximum potential out of this. But it's not a problem. You can run this with tier 3 Evil Man and you will destroy Rohan armies. I'm gonna show you lots of reports. And so yeah, the minus 30% from the Halberdiers, very important. Now, they also changed one of his skills, so he has the Absolute Leader skill now, which is unique, it's new. And this is a 30% damage increase, physical damage increase, for all of your allies if you run 3 different Evil Man units. Now this is a problem, because Corsairs do focus damage, which means that my Kirun is running at 80% capacity. Yeah, this buff does not affect the Corsairs, but I have to run some Corsairs because otherwise my Halberdiers don't get 30% damage. Next season I will be in Angmar or in Rune, so this skill will be absolutely 20 times better than it is now. But still, it's fine. Even with all of these drawbacks, absolutely not a problem, and we will see why. I'll give you a hint, it's mainly because of the Halberdiers. But still, so this is a 30% damage increase for the Halberdiers and the Dragoons. Corsairs are not affected. And finally, I maxed out the tribal tactics. I'm not a huge fan of this skill, but it's decent. If you get your Halberdiers to counterattack, to attack twice in at least 2 of the 10 rounds, it's amazing. So it's fine if you maximize this. Then of course we go for the Standard Lord of Descent title. Nothing changed here. This is my favorite title in the game. you can get some extremely funny scenarios where you stun all enemy units in the first 3 rounds if they don't have a stun immune helmet. So this is just one of those skills. If you are a lucky player, this wins against everything. So yeah, extremely, and the heal is obviously insane. These healing abilities are absolutely insane. Very good for the early game. Kirun is one of the best commanders in the game right now, I think. He's top 3 for me, with Sauron and with Witch King. And you definitely need this title. And then the last point, I put it into Easterling. So my Kirun is only respect 5. The next plan is, of course, to go for the damage mitigation, because that's the only thing that's really missing here for all units. You get it for the halberdiers already, you just don't have it for the war chariots in the dragoons. I will get him to respect level 15 someday, and if you put the 10 points that I will receive into Easterling and Iron Guard, well, Kirun will be very, very annoying to deal with. I've good gear in him as well, so I have the Army Attack Evilman, some Might and Focus with the Smite passive, which guarantees me an extra heal when it procs, due to the Sand Soldier skill. I have the Scale Mail. This I will change. I've not obtained a good Easterling armor yet. I'm sure it will come soon. We have a very strong Madness Helmet. I will soon be able to upgrade this to 100%. And then finally we have the Fine Smoking Pipe. I'm a big fan of this pipe, and I hope I can refine it at the end of the season with the end of season prestige rewards. Now, one thing to notice here is you can definitely live without this Madness Helmet, because Kirun doesn't really need Madness to shine, and the other thing is that the opponent may run an anti-Madness Helmet more often next season, because they will start to realize that crowd control is a big problem. So I'm perfectly okay with switching this with his unique helmet. I will talk about this a little bit later. I'm just gonna show you the build and the reports now. And so I ran him with 3,500 halberdiers, 1,750 dragoons, and 1,000 corsairs, just for the stat boost, but also because the frontline rescue heals all units. So I do want this number to be high enough for him to heal them as well. And I also want to fight multiple battles with him without reinforcing, which is why I use 1,000 corsairs here. Once again, this Kirun is running at 80% efficiency, maybe because of this. Maybe we get another physical damage Evilman unit that can be conscripted. I'm not a fan of the conscription Evilman that exist right now. I think they are called, what are they called? Donletings. I don't think they're good. So, and here we go. So I was fighting a guy from Rohan here, Buran, who used tier 4 units, and well, it's an absolute massacre. So considering the heal, I sustained around 50,000 damage, and he sustained around 320k damage. Yeah, I don't need to say a lot about this, but what's interesting to note is that the halberdiers almost did 200k damage. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. And they only got like 50k damage. So Kirun really makes the halberdiers super tanky and very annoying to deal with if you're running cavalry units. So very good fight, of course. Let's see if we can find another one. Now this composition, I don't know what this was. Maybe this guy was trying something out. But similar results as before. We just that's the other cool thing about Kirun. Even if the enemy is only running one cavalry, you still get a lot of cool buffs. So almost everyone runs cavalry. It's just the meta. Cavalry is super strong. So his skills that only affect cavalry, they're good, you know. We can see here again the Harps did a lot of damage to the Cataphracts. Perfectly fine. Now I'm trying to find a battle where things maybe did not go as well. So okay, yeah, this is not really relevant to show because this guy had low-level commanders. This is interesting. So my friend didn't have the optimal skill distribution because he was too lazy to reskill after they updated it. But in any case, Kirun with Muma kills doesn't work as well anymore because you don't have the damage increase from Quicksand, and you don't have the 30% damage decrease from Marshal of the East mark. Now this is the Great Plate of the East that I'm waiting for. Super nice. But this is just to show that this army composition, which is not really, you know, it's very generic. It's not necessarily versus Muma kills, is doing very well. So my dragoons did 115k physical damage to the Muma kills. Yeah. So this skill buff that increases the dragoon damage against large units is very good. 326k damage to my 176k, and I out-healed him as well. Very cool report. I'm sure I will get some better reports next season when we will have to face Muma kills. Kirun is not the best option versus Muma kills. Witch King is probably better, but he can stand his ground. I was testing with Iluvata again. We did some very nice battles. He has tier 4 units, I only have tier 3 plus the Corsairs, and I still win this fight quite comfortably. So this is 200k damage when we consider the heal versus 250k damage. So super nice matchup. Theoden is a very strong and Kirun just is very consistent versus him. So very cool. Okay, now this is something I also want to point out. So even though Kirun is my favorite commander in the game, he has a tough matchup versus the dwarves, and he has a tough matchup versus the damage commanders, of course. So Lurtz does a lot of damage. Once I get the Iron Guard on him at respect level 15, or like to a significant high amount, it will be better, but you should not run sustain commanders into damage dealers. This was just a test to see how he would hold up, and I was actually surprised he didn't even manage to kill me, which is another sign of how strong Kirun is. This is definitely not a favorable matchup. Okay, then I was trying some other stuff. So this is also not a favorable matchup. Galadriel is tough because, well, she just heals for 100k, so it's tough to keep up with that. And if you run her with full Muma kills, there's not a lot that Kirun can do here. But he didn't do too badly. Again, we killed like 8 Muma kills, and the Harps as well as the Dragoons did okay damage. But yeah, this is a bad matchup. We can see that he still drew. And then I was trying some funny stuff here. I think we can ignore this. I just wanted to see if this worked sometimes. Okay, now so this is what you want to do with Kirun. Maybe I can find another cavalry report. This is looking promising. Okay, this is too low level. Oh, this is okay, I guess. You can see as long as they're running one cavalry unit, the halberdiers do massive amounts of damage. Yeah, so you see, this is just these fights are just extremely deadly for Rohan and Gondor players. Now these commanders are low level. It's hard to show meaningful fights because our opponents have low level commanders, but yeah, this You get the picture. Like this guy is really good against all cavalry, and he can hold his own versus generic armies as well. Okay, so that was Kirun. Kirun, like I said, very strong commander. Run him with 3 evil man units. Preferably you run him with a tier 4 evil man unit, as well as the halberdiers and the dragoons. You focus on his healing skills, and once you are blessed enough to get him at respect level 10, you can get the Visage of the East. Now, Kirun is my main, so I will get this for him first, even if it's not the best unique item. But I do want to talk about this briefly. I think it is greatly underestimated. So you get some might and focus, but here are the things that are really good. So he gets +2 army HP evil man, which will of course stack quite highly if you get it to 5 stars. And if you didn't know, if you increase the HP of the army of the evil man, your heal will be much higher. So this will have an enormous impact on his heal, which is fantastic. And Offment further increases the HP, further increasing the heal, and it provides additional army attack for evil man. Once you refine this, this will be ridiculous. I'm telling you now, this is one of the best unique items in the game. Yeah? If you don't believe me, you will see it in the later seasons. Like I said already, I will get this anyway because I really like Kirun, but very strong. Witch King also has a very good one. I think Witch King's is probably the best, as long as you get these passive effects. And Sauron's is also very dirty. This this is really terrible against the enemy commander, because you get madness in the first 2 rounds. So this is designed to make up for this might and focus increase, and then from round 3 onwards, you just destroy the enemy army. And then I actually, this is not a video about unique weapons, but since we're here already, this Black Serpent is also very good. And on the light side, I really like Galadriel's because it provides more heals. So it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so this was a short detour. So we were talking about Kirun. So that's Kirun, a fantastic commander. Use him. So let's move on to the last commander that I will cover in this video, and that will be Lurtz. Here we go. Okay. So I decided to run my Lurtz with full Mumma kills into Aaron's Lurtz with full Mumma kills. Okay. And this is what happened. So first of all, I want to note I was attacking him. So of course my Lurtz had the +20% damage boost from the Pursuer. And the second thing to note is that, well, my Lurtz is equipped really nicely. I put a lot of stuff into him in Season 1, and I haven't really regretted it this season. He's still one of the best damage dealing physical commanders in the game. I think he's the best actually. And you can see this gear is super nice. Just boosting might, boosting extra damage, all of that cool stuff. And I maxed the correct skills, of course, and I'm running with full Mumma kills. And in battle we achieve a 414 might stat. Now Aaron's Lurtz is not that good. He put his good physical damage gear on the Legolas, which I will also show. But it's not a bad Lurtz whatsoever. So he has full Mumma kills, of course, and very nice skills, and the gear is decent. It's not bad at all. He has the Flay and the Drums of Barad-dûr, which is good might increase. So not bad at all. And then we have the Mumma kills, who of course reduce physical damage by 15%. So very relevant here. and I managed to kill 33 Mumma kills with one attack. Yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous. I got my new damage, highest damage number, commander damage number, 390k damage. Absolutely ridiculous. And I will show you the one round in the report. It's round 3. So in round 3, my firstborn causes this damage, yeah? Which is like 24k. Then we have Rush. Count the numbers. That's 34k. Then we have Deepen Wounds, 47k. Then we have Overwhelm, 61k. Then we have the regular attack, 66k. We get the Cleave proc, 99k. And with all the hundreds, it's over 70k physical damage in one round. Can you imagine that? I mean, if this is anything else other than Mumma kills, the army is literally dead in round 3. So absolutely ridiculous, and you can see this is not just, this happens again in round 6. Lurtz is just one of those commanders. If you don't have a good counter to Lurtz and you are defending, then you are in trouble. Yeah, I can run this easily. I can run this easily with full dragoons or cataphracts. It's not a problem. But with Mumma kills, you just make sure that you get as much tankiness as possible, and this is ridiculous. If someone of you has alerts that has done higher commander damage, I would be really curious to know. Let me know, because I would like to view the report in your gear, if it's possible. And if not, just enjoy this number. The funny thing is I could maximize this even further. Yeah, this is not maximized by any means. If I get all of this to 5 stars and make this cleave golden and the concentration golden as well, I'm quite confident that Lurtz can deal 450k physical damage, which is crazy. So very interesting report here. Now I also ran into his Legolas. So this was his Legolas running into my Lurtz, so I didn't get the damage boost. We can see that he had a slight advantage here. He killed 4 more Mummuks than me, and his Legolas has the better gear, like I said, compared to his Lurtz. But still, it's still not a terrible loss. You can see the Pursuer really does affect the damage difference. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Pursuer is the R1 title, which gives you 20% damage, but it only activates while attacking. And important to note, the damage bonus is modified by the speed, which is why I make it a point to also make my Lurtz fast. And then we had another battle where I attacked his Legolas, and now you can see the battle is definitely more in my favor. We did 330k damage almost, killed 26 Mummuks, he got 21. So of course his Legolas was keeping up better than my Lurtz, than his Lurtz, sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to show this one report. This is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I'm not going to cover the Witch King in this video because it has been done by so many other YouTubers. Alright, thank you for watching this video. I hope you gained some meaningful insights, and I will be uploading a new video soon where I will discuss the best commanders for Season 3. And I will see you then. Goodbye.